From San Francisco's premier comedy club, The Punchline, it's Comedy Tonight, this week starring Jane Dornacker.
Remember when you were a little girl? So young, and your dad chased you with a sharp rake just for fun? My dad was a different kind of a guy.
Bobby Slayton.
You ever notice this? Every Labor Day weekend, Jerry Lewis is on TV for 24 hours straight. Every Labor Day weekend, 500 Americans go on the highways and kill themselves. Coincidence? You be the judge. I don't know.
Good evening and welcome to Comedy Tonight. I'm your host, Alex Bennett. Tonight we're going to spotlight two great comedians from San Francisco. Our first artist is a giant of a comedian, might be said. Her stand-up is wonderful and a little curious. She's been featured with the rock group The Tubes, and she's a San Francisco radio and TV personality. Here she is, ladies and gentlemen, the awe-inspiring, albeit statuesque, Jane Dornacker.
Thank you all. It's really a pleasure to be the token woman. I'm slightly intimidated and fearful, of course, but that's the way I know that you like it, so I'm trying to go with that. But before I begin the performance part of my act, that was a poor choice of words already, because I'm not acting. I just do want to get that right off the bat straight, okay? I'm not acting. This is all me. It's not like there's somebody who writes lines for some other actress to come out and perform. Although if there were somebody like that, it would be kind of neat if it was someone called BG. Short for Big Giant Entertainer. But that is, I'm not saying lines. I'm really really telling you everything I do exactly from the heart. And in fact, I thought that, I don't care if you laugh or not, because as Alex said, I have a career now as a radio television personality. And after all, why be a person when you can be a personality, huh? In fact, life is a hell of a deal. Why try to live life? You can have a lifestyle. Why eat food when you can get feedback, huh? Hey, why put out when you can have input? I mean, it's a wonderful world we live in. I mean, why do we come down here on Monday night? Is it the money? Well, sure, $25 or $4 is fun to spend now and then. And it's nice when you laugh, but that's just a bonus. It's icing on the cake. The real reason we come here is because it's a thrill to kind of stand up here and realize that it's no longer enough just to stand up. The lights are on me. You're sitting down, I'm standing up. I know I've got to come up with something at least as entertaining as whatever drugs are going around. But I thought that perhaps instead of telling jokes, I would maybe lead a group discussion. Woman traffic reporter. A viable career opportunity for today's ambitious, career-minded gal. And that's what I am, really, essentially, is a gal. I mean, I am a trafficologist and a big giant entertainer and a big giant feminist, too. I be all of these things, but mainly I be gal. Yeah, that's it, gal. And I do want to share with you some of the things that make a gal, the all-important thing we call a gal, like our purses. This is one I had made from a dead Cadillac. But it was already dead when I got it. Isn't it cute? You never call a Cadillac cute. Bad. Not cute. Very bad. Let's see, what's really bad is what a gal has in the back seat of her Cadillac. Like a tube of Preparation H. But the reason that I have this and that other women over 25 or 24 have a tube of Preparation H is because we use it to tighten the skin under our eyes, and it really works, too. Let's see, what else do we have? Oh, here's something good. Don't throw away your old ace bandages or pantyhose, gals, because if you ever have to use the public toilets, you can wrap these up tight like this and stick it down in there like a little cork, and it keeps the snakes and baby alligators from coming up there. A quick impression now. I do love the way my fellow male comedians do, not fellow males. Uh-oh, did I blow it? No. The way that some male comedians, they do impressions, I think they're great, but they cheat because they always say who it is first, and then you have that person in your mind. When I do an impression, you have to guess who it is. And if you've already seen this, it's no fair to shout out the answer, okay? So try to clear your minds of any sort of conceptions or anything and see if you can just tell, just from the way I move and the way I do this, what it is. Oh, wait, how's that for a camera angle? Olivia Newton-John? That's a thought. Okay, see if we can. I'll give you a hint, a musical hint. Just walking around, looking for a snack when, what's that delicious smell? Little did I know when I went to check it out, I checked in at the Roach Motel. Yeah, Mr. Rogers, the big giant roach. Can you get it? Well, only the people with filthy kitchens got it, I guess. Okay, so I've done the impression, the joke. Oh, now comes the time when the comedian talks about his or her childhood. Remember when you were a little girl? So young. And your dad chased you with a sharp rake just for fun? My dad was a different kind of a guy. I'm going to do something really kind of corny now. It was sunset at the beach. I walked alone. The sky was black. Just the sight of an enormous storm building out to sea made me hungry for a little snack. Now, kids, I'm sorry to interrupt the comedy show, but since this is an educational station, I thought that I should take the opportunity to maybe give a kind of a little mini lecture about something I think is awfully important. And, in fact, I drove all the way down from Sacramento, where I live. You see, snacks are my life. I'm a professional snackologist. And I'm kind of concerned about the way you kids. I think it's wonderful you're concerned about what you put into your bodies and your exercise and all. But I'm a little bit worried that maybe since you grew up and learned how to read, maybe you're losing sight of something very important in the snack world. It's all right to have a tofu slab or some granola or 9-grain bread now and then. It tastes all right, especially if you deep fry it or put a lot of mayonnaise on it. But I'm afraid that some of you are forgetting about the importance of a certain kind of snack. And I'd like you all to think back to when you were little and your tiny body told you to go to your mom and ask her for some money so you could go to the store and buy a nice snack made with lots of white flour and white sugar. Now, there's a reason besides the yummy texture and the delicious taste that your tiny body told you to do this. The reason is because you need that kind of input to produce mucus. Now, some people aren't comfortable with the sound of the word mucus, but it's part of the food chain. Just as your proteins give you muscles and your carbohydrates produce energy, so does a nice snack made with lots of white flour and white sugar help you to produce that outer hard layer, that shell of mucus, which shields and protects the real you within. That's the reason President Reagan is alive today. Because the bullet lodged within the thick, firm outer mucus layer, leaving the real president safe within. Of course, now, he's not really a good example, because here's a man where the mucus is growing not just from the inside out, but the outside in. And it's not, I mean, it may be thick, but it's not really that firm. But he's applied various things to himself over the year, but it still is the truth that if you eat the kind of snacks that produce this, then you will have a good chance of surviving. Well, I can tell that some people don't believe me, but it is the truth. I like to think of it like a army tanker, that movie, The Empire Strikes Back. You see, that's where the tank's coming towards you across the snow there, and it looks like a living creature. But actually, there's somebody inside driving. Now, it's the same thing when you see somebody walking towards you on Market Street. Hopefully, there's somebody inside driving. And all I'm saying is that chances are so much better of being in the driver's seat if you make a conscious effort to contribute to the mucus layer. Now, I know what some people are thinking now. Marge! You can't just snack all day. What about breakfast and lunch and dinner? Well, now, I'm a career woman. I have kids. I don't have time to cook all day because I'm out lecturing, of course. But I still like to surprise my family, so I want to show you. This is one of my favorite kinds of snacks. So these Hostess snowballs. Now, I've got 6 or 7 packages. Well, not just packages, cases. You know, these have a shelf life of 7 years at home. And when my husband, Bill Battaglia, my name is Marge Battaglia. Did I tell you my name? No. Perhaps we should all say Marge Battaglia. Now, once you've gotten over that, try to say mucus. Mucus, that's right. Once you get comfortable with the sound, it'll be easier to return to your natural bodily instincts, to eat the things that produce mucus. And this is one of them. Now, when my husband comes home, like I said, I don't have time to cook all day, but I do like to surprise him. So what I like to do is get these, and this is so handy and convenient. This Hostess snowball. What I like to do is remove the inside cream filling, this part. Now, at this point, you have something just a little bit more than a snack. It's kind of like a little toy. 1 minute it's a ballerina, and the next is kind of a helmet or a mushroom or something. It's a great idea for a kid's birthday party. Now, only your imagination limits what you can put inside here. Put the chicken a la king or the chip tuna in here when the bridge club comes over. Or a little dog meat and hot sauce makes a nice burrito. Or a sweet and sour starchy burrito. Oh gosh, I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. The 7-Eleven is still open. 2 for 43 cents. An impenetrable barrier, which is also totally edible. Not to mention the thousands of tiny coconuts urging him or her to let go. But, of course, like I said, this has a shelf life of 7 years, so anything gets trapped in here could be in kind of a coma or something. But if you don't want to eat it, just make that little Italian casserole. And then I know that anybody that comes over for a snack will be like the people that leave the Battaglia house. They all walk out doing that dance like the cat does on TV. Ciao, ciao, ciao. Ciao, that's Italian for goodbye. Bye, kids.
Jane Dornacker, ladies and gentlemen, one lady who really knows her snacks. This next comic is originally from New York. He's headlined every major comedy club in San Francisco and Los Angeles, and he came in second in the National Laugh-Offs. Here's the unflappable and a good friend, Bobby Slayton.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I was in Macy's today. Macy's, you know, I was actually shopping in the Tiger Shop at Macy's. And I feel like an idiot shopping in the Tiger Shop. I think it's like, what's the other store? Another store has the Young Lion Shop. They always have like these little theme departments. You know, back to school, they have like a giant pencil. Back to school world. Hip young attitude. The fat newlywed land. What am I today? I don't know where to go, you know. I need an e-ticket to get in here. Why don't they just have shoes, socks, pants, everything together, you know? Makes life very simple. And now, you go to Macy's, they have an entire department for alligator products. Not just alligator shirts, alligator sweaters, alligator jackets, alligator socks. And I never knew this. An alligator shirt, $26 for a t-shirt with an alligator. If you don't want to spend that much money, you can go to JCPenney and get the Fox $5 cheaper. Or go to Montgomery Ward, get the Tiger cheaper than that. Or go to Sears and get the Little Dragon. Woolworths now has their own line of shirts, $1.99, a little slug right over here. You know, went food shopping today also, which was a lot of fun. You know, Jane before was talking about junk food and all the stuff that people will buy and put into their bodies. And she was talking about the shelf life of products. And I actually saw this in the supermarket today. And I like the word shelf life. It sounds like the Twilight Zone. You know, the store locks up, little watermelons dancing around. They have a little shelf life all of their own. But you look at some of the foods that they sell, and the expiration dates, like Campbell's soup, and I saw this today. Campbell's soup, it actually expires. The soup you're buying now in the store, April 1987. Now, this is 5 years before this stuff is going to go bad. You know, you think people are really sitting there looking at the bottom of the can going, well, I'm not going to use it this week, I'm not going to use it next week, but the week after that, well, I can always leave it in my will, you know what I mean? Cream cheese also, a year and a half before cream cheese that you're buying now goes bad. You know, like people say, let's see, I have 8 bagels at home, cream cheese that's a bagel every month and a half, I think I can make it, you know. I still have a fruitcake left over from Christmas that Grandma gave me. I don't know how many of you eat fruitcakes. What a horrible, disgusting food. I think I'm just going to hold on to this fruitcake, you know, maybe next Christmas, give it to somebody I don't like, because I'm sure it's still going to be good. You know, with all the preservatives that they put in there, you ever see what else is in there? What is in that fruitcake? They put, like, marbles and juji fruits and shoelaces. And, you know, it's like the head cheese of the dessert world. Sardines, there's another food I can never get into. You know, it's like I eat tuna fish. I eat salmon, because you look at those fish, you know, you open it up, you never knew that there was once a creature living in there. You know what I mean? But sardines, they usually keep the whole fish in there, and it's great, you know, it's great when they put it so dramatically on the outside of the thing, skinless and boneless. What are they doing to these poor little animals? Their skin, their bone, they're dead. You know, I don't want to touch them. And you know where the money is in sardines? The pelts. You go to Magnin, Saks, they have like sardine shoes, suitcases. It's unbelievable. What other animals are, you know, here's another animal that I never liked, and I guess you can sort of call these animals, other Muppets. Mutant puppets, Muppets, okay? I was never a Muppet fan, and I never really hated them until I saw that Miss Piggy put out a book, and it's on the New York Times bestseller list now. Have you seen this? Miss Piggy's Guide to Life, $14.95 for a Guide to Life from Miss Piggy. Now, I know I have a little bit of an attitude, but when I get a problem, I don't want advice from some damn sock with eyes, okay? What kind of person wants Miss Piggy's guidance? You know, it's just so ridiculous to me, right? Yeah, okay, partner, yeah. Now, that's going to make absolutely no sense if they edit the Chinese stuff out, so you folks should have been here instead of watching it at home. What can I tell you? Oh. Let's see, I met Bo Derek at a party last week. I shouldn't say this on TV, but I was with, I met Bo. We were sitting in this back room at a party, and I hate to say this to brag, I'm going to drop names, but Bo Derek was kind of hitting up on me. And, what? My flyer? Oh, my fly's open. Okay. So I figured, you only live once. Let's go for it. My girlfriend's back in California. And I'm just about to jump on Bo Derek, and all of a sudden, she starts scratching her head, and I said, hey, that itch could be telling you something. Get away from me. Who knows what kind of disease this woman has? Oh, what else I want to talk about today? Let's see. See, I'm trying to remember. You got to do the TV stuff. I got the Ginsu steak knife in the mail the other day. I sent away for the Ginsu. It actually came. Have you seen the commercial with the Ginsu? Now how much did you pay? But wait a minute, there's more. You get the Ginsu forks, the Ginsu knives, the Ginsu potato peeler, the carrot slicer. That's not all. There's more. Okay, what else? You know, and they go, I got anything, plates, dishes, living room furniture. But wait a minute. Now how much would you pay? Don't answer. There's more. They give you that little spiral slicer which makes decorative vegetables, and I'll tell you, if you're like me, barely a day goes by. I'm not using decorative vegetables 8, 9, 10 times a day, huh? Really, what is a meal without those decorative vegetables? But have you seen the commercial on TV? The guy takes like a potato, makes his potato slinky he holds up. Oh, boy. Well, let's see what else is happening. Modern technology is so wonderful now. You know, they're coming up with so much junk and so many products that you don't need. A great example of this is some guy who's parked next to me downstairs tonight has on the dashboard of his car one of those little compasses in liquid. Have you ever seen these things? You know, a lot of old people, like down in Miami, have these, but I see people driving around with these things in their car. You know, they're like egg-shaped and they float around. They're soldered on the dashboard. And I guess in case you get lost, they're supposed to help you by telling you if you're going north, you know, like northwest, southeast, whatever. Now, if I get lost, I do what a regular human being does. Don't you like normal directions where you pull into a gas station? You know what I mean? You find out, make a left at the light, get on the freeway. You know, it doesn't help me to know stuff like, hey, I'm getting closer to the equator. Hey, Magellan, there's a new world. There's Frank's house. The Northwest Passage, right around the corner, huh? Where would I be without this helpful little compass here? It's like blenders. You know the blenders in your house? Okay, now I find, this the other day I did something that I've been dying to do for a long time. Every morning I wake up, I make this little protein drink, and I always push blend. Okay, I've never pushed like mix or liquefy. I've never liquefied anything in my house before. You know, what do you use this for? If you're a mad scientist, you're turning rocks to gold, then you liquefy. But for all intents and purposes at home, you don't have to liquefy anything. I want a chop, I take out my ginsu. It's not a mixer, it's not a chopper, it's a blender, all right? They call it a blender for a reason. So the other morning I wake up, I put the drink in the blender, and instead of pushing blend, I push chop. You know what chop does? It blends, okay? You push mix, it blends. You push liquefy, it blends. Why don't they just blend and off? Very simple, huh? But you see, now machines are taking over, and it's like the Twilight Zone, all right? I was just on the road for a couple of months, and I come home, and I walk in my house. Now, my phone answering machine has taken all my calls. My video recorder can tape 2 weeks' worth of shows. I've got a smoke detector, a fire alarm, a burglar alarm, a self-cleaning oven, a refrigerator makes ice cubes by itself. You know, I got this nightmare. One night I'm going to go home, I'm going to walk in the house, and my house is going to go, hey, you know, we really don't need you here anymore. We're taking care of everything. A vacuum cleaner chases me out the door, you know. It's like digital watches. Why do you need digital watches? You know, it's like, okay, I wake up in the morning. You don't know the time. That's what's nice to have a watch. But to know the day and the date, okay, now some people might be very busy. You have to look at your watch. It's a nice little thing to have. But all of a sudden when they start coming up with like computer games and a stopwatch and an egg timer, it's like, you know, Batman with a little utility watch, you know. And then the most ridiculous thing of all has to be putting the month on the watch. You know, when was the last time you were walking down the street and somebody came, excuse me, sir, you got the month, I'm late for an appointment, you know. You know, I was hibernating, I overslept, I forgot the time of season. You know, I was supposed to be Yogi Bear for spring cleaning, and the month just went right by. I'm sure a lot of people wake up in the morning, oh my God, it's February, I'm late for work, you know. I'm sorry, boss, I'll be in May as soon as I get my watch fixed. Listen, you guys have been really nice. Thank you very much. I feel like it.
Bobby Slayton. This is Alex Bennett. Thanks for watching, and be sure to be with us next time on Comedy Tonight.
I know that you know, I know, you know. It doesn't matter how many times some comedian says, take my wife, or in this case, take my person, please. Or, hey, why did they crucify Christ instead of hanging him? So Catholics wouldn't have to go.
I always carry in my bag a little bit of this pasteurized processed snack mate, which is a kind of a canned cheese. You don't have to refrigerate it, and it's nice to have it in your purse, because sometimes they don't put enough cheese on your pizza. They never put enough cheese on sushi.
Did you read this? The next month, what they're actually trying to do in the state of California now, they're trying to pass a law making it illegal to eat cats and dogs. Did you read about this? The Humane Society puts to death thousands of cats and dogs every year. So you take the boat people, you give them jobs at the Humane Society. Why? You pay them like minimum wage, all you can eat like the Sizzler. You know, them bones, them beef bones, you know. because a man like Curly, you know, had to be Curly all the time. You know, it's like he could never have a regular life. You know what I'm talking about? It's like Mo had the dream, the vision of putting together the Stooges, going to Hollywood and making movies, or else Curly would have wound up like these bums on Market Street. I mean, what if a guy like Curly walked into your store and said, hey, look, I need a job. Here's my resume. You know, it's like who's going to hire this guy?